It is the NBA draft, and with the 23rd pick of the NBA draft, the Portland Trail Blazers selected Kris Murray from Iowa. Locked On's NBA draft coverage is brought to you by Birddogs. Go to birddogs.com/lockedonnba, and they'll throw in a free custom Birddogs Yeti-style tumbler with every order. You won't want to miss that, and you won't want to take your Birddogs off. I'll tell you that. Now, with that, let's bring in our Locked On Blazers host, Mike. We are so excited to have you, Mike Rickman. And let's talk about this pick. Kris Murray, how does he fit in to the Blazers roster? Now they have two rookies from this first round of the draft. So tell us how he's looking, how this roster is looking with Kris Murray. And his
position. They're relatively thin up front, so they needed some size. So I think adding a 6'8" forward is helpful, just because they don't have too many dudes who could play power forward on the whole roster. That helps. I think it helps that he's 23, because you don't have to wait as long for him to get going. Rookies are going to struggle in the league regardless, but the difference in 19 and 23, just sort of like the physical development is a big deal. And he's probably closer to what his ceiling is as a player. I think, maybe you could say that is not as big of an upside swing, but a productive 6'8" forward who could maybe play from day one, at least a little bit, seems like a reasonable swing to take in the latter half of the first round. Something they need. He could shoot a little bit. He's not this crazy great athlete that's going to finish above the rim, but he was a really productive college player to end his career at Iowa. And I think, if he is as productive as his brother Keegan, and or what the scouts say that he's something like 70%, that's a pretty good pick at 23. Keegan Murray was extremely good in his rookie year. And if he's 70% of Keegan Murray, but he's left-handed, they'll take it.
Right. I mean, it's so interesting. You brought up age, you brought up NBA readiness, you bring a brother. Those are all good things. It's not going to get you ready to go on and play an NBA game, but there are certainly additions. How does he fit exactly into the roster? We know that this is a team that still, as of right now, has Damian Lillard. We'll see how that plays out, and we want to touch on that with you. But how does he fit in to this Portland Trail Blazers roster as it stands right now?
Well, Jeremy Grant, starting power forward, is a unrestricted free agent. All of the indications are that if the Blazers continue with Damian Lillard on the roster, is that they're going to give Jeremy Grant a whole bunch of money, and he's going to come back and be their starting power forward again. So that would mean that there are still minutes available. They don't have a bunch of fours, like I said. Cam Reddish is a restricted free agent. He's not really a power forward. Trendon Watford, who's played some power forward, is someone who you could kind of slide in there. But there's certainly minutes to be had at that spot, whether Murray is a 3 or a 4. There are minutes to be had at the forward spots on this team. So there is, I don't think he's like penciled in to play, but there is certainly a real opportunity for him to play if he's capable day one, because as we stand here in the end of June, a very long way away from a finalized roster, but as we stand here at the end of June, there is certainly minutes to be had for Kris Murray if he's ready to go.
One of the reasons, and again, we keep tiptoeing around it, but one of the reasons that Damian Lillard is seemingly unhappy is that he wants to go to a place he can win. You had Scoot Henderson, you had Kris Murray. Are these the pieces to help the Trailblazers get to that winning and contention franchise, if you will?
I mean, not soon. And I think that's the angst from Damian Lillard, right? He said at exit interviews, I'm probably done with 19-year-olds. Scoot Henderson will be 20 on opening day. So maybe that'll help him. Maybe that'll help him because he's not a teenager. But Dame said if they want to build, he's not interested in building things that take 1, 2, and 3 years to build. He wants to be he wants to play on a team with vets that can be really competitive from day one. Even the best rookies aren't good in this league. Like even the best rookies, there are a handful that are contributors and high-level contributors. I mean, Kris Murray's brother Keegan Murray was a pretty high-level contributor on a team that made the playoffs, right? There are certainly exceptions, but for the most part, rookies are bad. And I think Dame knows that. And I think based on what the Blazers have done in this draft, they took Scoot Henderson at 3, taking Kris Murray at 23. They have another pick in the second round. It doesn't mean that they're for sure trading Dame, but this is the actions that they would take if they were. Because Dame wants them, he wanted them to trade these picks for win now help. They could still do that in the next couple weeks. Still do that later tonight. Maybe when we hang up this call, Jourdan, it'll happen for us, and you'll call me back and we'll re-record this, and this one will never exist. It'll be lost to the ether, right? But this is taking both rookies with these picks are the steps you would take if you were launching a rebuild. It's not necessarily a guarantee, but it's certainly steps 1 and 2 if you were moving in that direction. And I think that's why there is uncertainty with Blazers fans, because this night was supposed to be the night they took a big swing. And so far, they haven't taken any swings. They've just stood pat at where they are and drafted 2 players that might be really helpful, but it's not what their franchise icon wanted.
So they didn't make a trade in the first night of the draft. The rumors are swirling. Are they going to trade Damian Lillard? What are you hearing? Why do you think they didn't in night 1? I mean, answer those questions for us if you can, if you will.
I would assume it's because they think Scoot Henderson's really good and that they, by all accounts, scoured the market for, hey, what can we get for this? And they said, none of these deals are better than Scoot. Like, we would rather have Scoot in tow than any of these deals. All of these are overpays and we have to operate responsibly, and we can't get ripped off here. This is a relatively new front office, their second draft that they have been under. They didn't want to get ripped off. So they're in a position, that's my assumption. They're in a position where they had to weigh what the value is, and they felt that the value was more, they had felt there was more value in going the rookie route. And, like I said, it's no guarantee that this is the end of the Damian Lillard era. It is just a situation that sets up for the speculation to get louder. It was already pretty stinking loud before this draft, and it's just going to get louder because, they can't make bad deals. It is not, the process can't be to make bad deals. But there is a world in which not making any deal sets them up for having to make really tough decisions here in the next couple weeks.
Mike, we know that you are going to be all over it. And for more on the Trailblazers, everyone make sure you are subscribed to the Locked On Blazers podcast, wherever you get your podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Mike, such great insight. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, Jourdan.